Hello again, gang. Welcome back to the channel. Jayhuahua here. It's another Football Manager 2023 experiment. And today, we're looking at a team that can't finish. Can they win? Can they score goals? How will they cope being unable to shoot? Well, we're all going to find out. So, yeah, let's jump in and get on with it, shall we? Southend United are the lucky team in today's experiment, and it is all about finishing. We've got a full team. These have all got a transfer arranged for 2045. They're all joining Chelsea, because why not? Ticker picking on City, and still haven't forgot that experiment where Chelsea backdoored the way out of a transfer embargo. So yeah, I think I've worked out how to stop that happening now though. So it was my fault, but I'm blaming them. We've got a couple of players for every position. We're just going to go through one for finishing, one for long shots. If we just go through goalkeeper, goalkeeper, oh, null keeper, oh. The puns have started. One for finishing, one for long shots. Anyway, that is the purpose of the experiment. How will they do? They have all got a current ability of 170. World-class players. Potential ability 170. They are all frozen. Southend have a transfer ban until 2045. So until all these players will leave the club. As I said, they're all going to be at 170. The reality is they should be not only winning the Premier League, they should be winning the Champions League. So they should be absolutely flying going forward. That being said, we're in the Vanarama National League. So to go up, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons to get to the Premier League. So we're going to go through 5 years straight off the bat in this experiment. 5 whole years and see how they're getting on. They should be in the Premier League, and I think they should potentially be winning it. But who knows? Well, we all will in a minute's time. So without further ado, let's go through 5 years. See how it's going. Okay, we're back. And of course, they won the Vanarama National League, even with 1 finishing and 1 long shots. Still doesn't stop them scoring from corners. And 151 goals for 3 goals against. 148 is the goal difference. But of course, they're far too qualified for the Vanarama National League, so this was always to be expected. Going up as champions, as dominant as you can be. However, they did draw 1-1 to Wrexham, who narrowly missed out on promotion. Well, they actually would have lost in the playoffs, wouldn't they? And again, exactly the same. Just the 1 draw for Southend in League 2. 45 wins, 148 goals this time, only 8 conceded still. The jump from Vanarama National to League 2 is probably the smallest jump in terms of promotion in the league pyramid. If you're doing lower league saves, getting out of the Vanarama National is very difficult because of only 2 promotion spots, 1 automatic as well. Quite often when you get out of there, you can almost go straight up. We didn't with Oldham, but that's by the by. Doncaster, mid-table Doncaster were the ones to get the draw. And here we go then, in League 1, of course, again, still got world-class players. They should be going up at a canter. And they have 1 defeat, losing 1-0 to Plymouth Argyle, who finished 9th, and a draw against Reading, who also got promoted. Fabulous stuff. 141 goals for this time and 10 goals against. Oh, wow, another undefeated season. This time, 5 draws in the Championship. 113 goals for, 23 against, 5 draws, Norwich, Watford, Portsmouth, Sunderland and Reading taking points off Southend, but no defeats at all. And now here's the big one, the Premier League. Well, they're still there. They didn't go down. Building the tension. Ooh, they came third. They came third in their first season and scored the 2nd most goals behind Manchester City. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. But in terms of all-time career goals, I've the centre forward, I've named him Kane Full of Love. Spelt Kane slightly differently to the Kane Full of Love on the Oldham days. Who, when I made this database a couple of weeks ago, I was in love with Kane Full of Love. Now, at the time of recording, episode 52 is up on the channel. 53, Kane Full of Love, not doing as well. Wants to leave. But he's scored the most. Still got 1 finishing and 1 long shots. 18 heading, but only 10 jumping reach. So, yeah, very interesting. So, the lack of finishing and the lack of long shots doesn't seem to have had too much of a negative impact. They finished 3rd in their first season in the Premier League. They've won the Carabao Cup in 2024. That's season 2 of the experiment. So that's League 2 Southend have won the Carabao Cup. They've not won anything else. But that means they would have got into Europe, right? They won the Carabao Cup final on penalties against Chelsea. Carl Fletcher and Phil Forward with the goals. The following season, they got into the Conference League quarter-final. What? Oh, that's confusing, isn't it? They've won the game, they've lost on penalties. So they went out in the quarterfinals to Real Betis on penalties. Well, in terms of how Southend are doing, they are doing fantastically well. I mean, if you look at all-time appearances, Noel and Joel, for the goalkeepers, they're basically playing quite consistently, a very even split. Whereas for some reason, Jeff played 21 games. What I will say I did do, I didn't make these attributes. What I did, I went into the pre-game editor, gave them a current ability, potential ability, and then went in and just changed the attribute of finishing and long shots to 1 and let the game just put the rest of the attributes in. And it did do that, which is why they've all got different personalities, because the hidden attributes will be different. So a lot of them are balanced, though, to be fair. And in terms of caps, well, Lee Bailey has got 25 caps at the age of 20. Everyone bar Ron Winger and Rory Weston have been capped. Jeff, 21 games he's played for Southend, 2 caps for England. Speaking of England then, Spalletti is in charge. Maurizio Sarri's been sacked. Gareth Southgate was sacked. No Ralph yet. And there's the team. Absolute brilliance. Look at that. You can see that they've actually changed. They've been retrained. A lot of them have been retrained into different positions. Like Barry midfielder can play right wing back. Look, wing back right, wing back right, wing back and midfield right for Richard Swinger because he's a winger. But I've called him Swinger because Richard, think about it. Why has Kane Fullerlove been retrained as a right wing back? Sis! I mean, I suppose he can play there. He's a fantastic wing back. You're not that bothered about playing any of them up front because they've all got crap finishing. Lots of them have been retrained as a right wing back. Les left back can play left wing back. Only one player can play left wing back, and loads of them can play right wing back. What formation are you playing, Kevin? Not playing wing backs, apparently. Who's this Jolland? Ali Jolland, 18 years old, 5 years in. Is this sorted out new, Jan? I've just installed it on the Oldham days, but how? Maybe the unique player ID has already been used. Let's have a look at this. Oh, cool! So the unique player IDs have actually been used, and they've generated real faces rather than regen faces. That's an aside. Right, we've dilly-dallied far too long here at 5 years. Been here far longer than I anticipated. So let's go through 3 years. Done enough messing about. But before we do that, actually, yes, please like the video because it helps push the video out to more people. And it's quite a fun experiment. So yeah, hope we get it out to more people and you'll be doing your bit for the channel. Thank you very much. Subscribe while you're there as well. So this is where we left it last time. We are back in 2030, but this is the 2026-2027 season where we finished 3rd. So moving forward a season, can they go one better? No, they can go one worse. 4th on 69 points. Nice. Only 60 goals for, 40 against. So not banging the goals in. Let that be known. Back up in 3rd. Back up in 3rd for Southend. Fair play to them. 71 goals, 34 against. And 3rd again. 76 points. Oh, what an end to the season this was. Right, the last game of the season, Southend drew 2-2 with Brentford. Sorry, we've got to go back here. Southend drew 2-2 with Brentford. So they've gone from 75 to 76 points. Newcastle. Did Newcastle win? They did. Oh, and they've got the same goal difference. Newcastle and Southend both beat each other once. I don't know what would have happened there. They'd have been on the same points had Southend won. Goals scored? That'd have been funny, wouldn't it? If goals scored was the deciding factor for a league win. But they've not won the league yet. After 4 years of trying, they finished in the Champions League places every single time. So, should we have a look in the Champions League, see if they've managed to snaffle one of those? I mean, I doubt it, but I mean, say that. They are the current Champions League holders. I don't know. What? I doubt they've got one. Boom. Current winners. 3-0 against Milan. Kane Fullerlove with a pen, Martin Metzala, and Leo Wright, who is a left winger. Yes, of course. 11 caps, 1 goal for Leo. And speaking of caps, let's go and have a look at the shortlist. So, has Jeff played a bit more? 101 games now, so he's played 80 times in the last 3 seasons. Bloody hell. For some reason, Jeff's 2 seasons in the Premier League, not playing a minute, and they went, you know what? Give Jeff a game. 20 games, then 40, then 27, sorry. 47 times he's played in the Premier League. International caps then. We've got Lee Bailey on 54 with 1 goal. I mean, he's left back, isn't he? Carl Fletcher, 14 goals. Probably playing as a right winger, isn't he? Bill, 15 goals. This is a problem for England, isn't it? They're not going to be scoring loads of goals. Luis Enrique is currently in charge. Okay. Speaking of Luis Enrique being in charge, he's the only one there after Luciano Spalletti Should we have a quick look in on Ralph? I feel like it's been long enough that I'm worried that he's going to retire. He's the current manager of Northern Ireland. So what's Ralph been up to? Well, he went to Aston Villa and he got sacked as the manager of Aston Villa. Then he went to Austria. Again, he's always going to Austria nowadays in these experiments. Ralph Watch is slowly becoming an obsolete thing. He resigned as the Austria manager to go to be the Burnley manager. He got sacked. He then took the West Brom job, then resigned, and he's took the Northern Ireland job about a year ago. They've not won a league. They have won a Champions League. In terms of the Carabao Cup, still just the one. Not won an FA Cup either. Kevin Maher is a club legend, as well as Phil Forward. Phil Forward is a club legend then. Fair play. So yeah, we're going to jump through another, 5 years? Let's go another 5 to 2035 and really knuckle down into the meat and potatoes of this experiment. So this is where we were, as we saw last time, just missing out on the league title. And again, they finished third, this time a little bit more comprehensively for missing out on the league title. Only 60 goals for. Few teams getting more than them. And I think this is where we're coming unstuck. I think they just haven't got the firepower going forward. Defensively, fantastic. Their best defensive record in the league by a goal, just haven't got the firepower. But then I suppose Newcastle only scored 3 more. So it's not like other teams are blowing them out of the water. No one's scoring loads. It's a low scoring league. For me, I'm always looking to score probably 80, 90 goals. And Liverpool winning the league, for me, 15, 20 goals short. We're still with 90 points though. And they've won it. We've won it. Wow. 96 points, 75 goals for. They actually scored the most goals out of anyone. And they had the best defensive record. So the best goal difference by a country mile. They have finally won a Premier League in 2031-32 in season 10. And they've got back-to-back. I think the floodgates have opened. They've now scored another 74, 29 against. Not the best defensive record, but very close to. Scoring the most by a considerable distance. 3 in a row? No. Still scoring the most though. 78 points, 4 points off the pace from Manchester City. And the most recent season, again, second place. And look at that, 1 point behind. Scoring the most. So they've got themselves in a position where they're scoring a lot of goals. The media are predicting them to finish third. Noel Keeper is in net. There is no one else in the media dream 11. So in terms of Southend, if we go and have a look at the senior squad, I was wondering if they'd got like a youth player that had come through who was a fantastic forward, like this guy. But no, just because maybe that's what is making that. Maybe that's why they're scoring loads of goals, because they've got someone who's got like 18 finishing. But that's not the case. Not the case at all. Still, the first team squad is this. 28 years old across the board, getting very little money, £200 a week. So over £1 billion in the current balance. And they've got 2 Premier Leagues. I've just noticed it. Another Carabao Cup in 2031. Let's go and look at that first. Beating Arsenal in the 2030-31 season. Coming runner-up to Newcastle in 2032-33 as well. The FA Cup then. It's the FA Cup. The FA Cup. 2033-34 beating Newcastle, and then they ran it back. The same final again a year later, and Newcastle got their revenge, beating Southend. Thomas Tuchel in charge of Newcastle. 3 Europa Leagues for them, 2 of them in the experiment. After extra time, well, look at this, 4 Champions Leagues, and look at that. 3 in a row, beating Milan, beating PSG, beating Real Madrid. And they won on penalties against Milan. They won in normal time against Paris Saint-Germain. Oh, they got to the Club World Championship and they lost. They won against Real Madrid 2-1 in normal time as well. So a lot of club domestic success for Southend. Has that had an effect for England? 30 caps for Noel, 46 caps for Joel. The international goals I've popped in as well. And you can see Carl Fletcher has got 1 in 2. Phil Forward has got 1 in 3. So it's not a great return. Zinedine Zidane has come to be in charge of England. And we've had Sean Dyche, Pep Guardiola and Zinedine Zidane who've all come and had a little dabble at the England job. No Ralph and no major tournaments. Very interesting. In terms of the tactics, pretty much the whole team and a lot of the bench is all Southend. And, 170 current ability, you'd expect it. So we're going to go through another 5 years. We've got 3 more stops. We've got 2040, 2045, and then we're going to jump forward a few more years just to see how they cope when they all leave. So we were here. They just lost out to Liverpool. We should have checked that, shouldn't we? We should have checked if they lost on the last day. Never mind. It's gone. Following season, they won. Beat Leicester coming second. Another Premier League win for Southend. Not scoring the most goals. let it be known. Oh, 65 goals scored, but only losing once all season. Losing to Leicester, who finished for Southampton up there as well. Where are Chelsea? Have Chelsea got relegated? Have I missed this? We're going back. Chelsea got relegated here. They're in League Two. Do you know what? It's doing this thing again, isn't it? They've got so many players who are on the way in. I don't know what's happened. They've not really signing anyone. They're selling all their players, so they're down in League Two. That's another point. Will Chelsea be able to recover? Yeah, this happened with Man City. It never seemed to happen back in the day. I'm very confused as to why that happened. Anyway, so Chelsea got relegated. Where were we then? So yeah, we won the league. We won the league again on 91 points with Leicester coming fourth, the only team to beat us. Leicester then coming second again, only 2 points in it there. Leicester won it. Leicester have been up and in and amongst it for a lot of seasons now, and the most recent season was another Southend win. Leicester and Southampton in the Champions League. In 2025, they had a tycoon. Then in 2031, they scaled down the funding. I'm not sure how, out of nowhere, they've just gone insane, but they have. They absolutely have. And Southend, as you can see, they've got now 6 Premier Leagues, and they've won another Champions League. Kevin Mayer has just had a lovely old time of it. They are the current Champions League holders. So after 3 in a row, we saw they won another. So against Man City, so 4 in a row, and then Milan beat Leicester. Leicester beat Newcastle. Leipzig beat Newcastle, and Southend beat Atletico Madrid. So Leicester City doing fantastically well in this experiment. Go on, Leicester. The reality is, a team with 170 current ability across the board, they should be winning everything. They should be winning everything. The fact is they're not. It's the finishing, which is why they're sometimes not. So it is making a huge difference, a massive difference. They've all been capped in some capacity. They've all played so many games. I mean, even Jeff's played 377. Over 100 caps for some of the forwards. 136, 123. 126 for Lee Bailey at left back. 1 goal. You don't expect a left back to score though, do you? Has he ever scored in the league? 5 goals in the league. You just see it just in the way. Kevin Nolan in charge of England. Eddie Howe was in charge of England, as well as Imanol Alguacil, I think that's how you say it. And Kevin Nolan is the current manager. So no Ralph. Ralph's probably retired by now. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. England won the Euros in 2036, the most recent one, actually, and it was currently going on. So they are the current European Championship holders. Simone Parfundi won the best player. The Golden Boot was won by Malam Fernandez. 4 goals for Wilfried Gnonto, coming third. So England managed to win the Euros, basically scoring sod all. I suppose they didn't score sod all, but they just shared the goals around, really. Yeah, so Italy beat England in the groups and then a replay in the final, and England managed to win with Richard Swinger swinging his old Richard about, getting the goal. That's so 2040. Let's jump through to 2045 and really rattle on with this now. So last here, where Southend won it, and they won it again, 2040-41. Liverpool. Oh, Southend coming 4th there. Oof. Leicester's still up there. Southend won it again, and again, and again, most recently with 97 points. Manchester United getting relegated down here. Wow. Where are Chelsea? 10th in the Vanarama National League. They've got 1.1 billion in the bank. They're about to spend all that money on all the players for Southend. So how long will they stay, and will they manage to sort of accelerate them back up the leagues? Be interesting. Matthias Almeida. Yeah, Kevin Mayer retired from management as an absolute club legend. Of course he did. In 2 years and 345 days, he's got 8 cup wins and 3 league wins. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So we've got just the 1 FA Cup in the whole experiment. 4 UEFA Super Cups, 7 Carabao Cups. Yeah, they've won 3 in the last 5 years. And again, another couple of Champions Leagues, 2 in a row as well. Liverpool got 2 in a row. Beating Juventus and Bayern Munich, Southend did. So 8 Champions Leagues in total. Got over £1 billion in the bank, and they're about to get a hell of a lot more money for all of their players. So yeah, they're going to have a short, sharp shock. I don't think they're going to do very well in the following up seasons. So what we're going to do is I'm going to jump through to the end of where I've simmed up to. Not sure where that is. And we'll see how Chelsea have got on, see how Southend have recovered, and we'll go and check in on Ballon d'Ors and stuff, and that'll be it. Well, Southend aren't even in there for a start. 11 years later. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. 11 years later, United are back up in the top flight. Right, so Southend last won it in 2044-45. All their players left, and that's it. That's the last time Southend won anything. They are currently 3rd in the Championship with Maxence Lacroix is the manager. They've won another FA Cup in 2050. So they had all those great players, 23 years, 1 FA Cup, 8 Champions Leagues, 10 Premier Leagues, 7 Carabao Cups, and they've gone and won an FA Cup when they've not had all those great players. So in terms of competitions, let's have a look at the domestic leagues then. So 20, 45, 46. Oh, wow. So they got all that money in and they had a load of money and they just didn't manage to do anything with it. They went down with a record low points total. They've come back a couple of times and gone straight back down. They stayed up to here and finished 13th, but they went down again. And they finished 3rd for 2 seasons in a row in the Championship, and they've just lost in the final to Blackburn in the playoffs. Chelsea are in the Championship, finishing 8th. So let's have a look at Chelsea then. As we saw, they were down in the Vanarama National, and then they, like they did at the start of their careers, they only went and won the Vanarama National League at a canter, just drawing the one game, just conceding a few more and not scoring as many, but they went out with a bang. I'd like to think that they did stay around for League 2, because I think a lot of them will have done. Then you're looking at League 1, I think they would have been buying players up. They lost a lot more, finished 3rd. They probably didn't have most of those players, maybe had a couple, and I think by this point they'd all gone. Definitely. Because in the Championship, they managed to stay up, and they've stayed in the Championship ever since, and actually improving season upon season, really. This most recent season finishing 8th was their worst in the last 4 years. They've been in the playoffs for 3 years in a row. So Chelsea have recovered somewhat. Sorry, Chelsea. I mean, the way Chelsea are free-falling this season, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they're going to be in the Vanarama National League in about 20 years' time, is it? Vinnie Comp is in charge of England. So after Kevin Nolan, we had Leonardo Jardim, Abigail Pemberton. Is that a woman? No, it's a man. It's never heard Abigail being a man's name. Maybe the foreign. English. Okay. Each their own. Trent Ballinger, Alvaro Arbeloa. Yeah, Emil Højbjerg and Vinnie Comp. No World Cups, just the 1 Euros. Runner-up 3 times in the experiment, though. Runner-up 3 times in the World Cup as well. So perennial runners-up England. Very disappointing indeed. Lots of under-19 European Championships. Winners and runners-up. Football of the Year then. World Footballer of the Year. So we're coming back, and do you know what? No one, not one of our players, despite the fact they were winning the Champions League so often. Golden Ball, again, no one. That seems a bit harsh, doesn't it? Team of the Year, all seasons. Lee Bailey made it in. 8 Champions Leagues he's won in 34 years. 8 Champions Leagues. You go season by season, there's loads of them here. Anyway, that's the end of the experiment, ladies and gentlemen. Just having a quick look at Champions Leagues, because obviously Leicester, 4 more for Leicester. Leicester v Southampton in the most recent final. Trent Ballinger, who was the England manager at some point, he's got some good attributes, hasn't he? 5 Champions Leagues, just the 3 Premier Leagues. I'm surprised he's not won more Premier Leagues, really. Won more Champions Leagues in the Premier League. Anyway, let's bask in the glory of Leicester, who have been fantastic in this experiment, as well as Southampton, who've come through in recent times. And of course, Southend, who he gave all the great players to. So finishing doesn't really matter. Absolutely it does. I know a lot of people out there think you can get away with a striker with slightly worse finishing. I personally love high finishing. If you've got less than 15, I'm wary. I am wary. And I think this experiment goes to show that finishing and long shots is incredibly important. Not the be all and end all. If you've got other great attributes around it, you can get away with not having the best. But a full world-class team of 170 ability for every single player and all the players on the bench. So players that can change the game. Come on. You should be winning the league every single year. You should be winning with over 100 goals scored. Champions Leagues galore. I mean, they did win a lot, but not as much as I would have expected them to win with those players and that ability. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've had a good time. I've had a lovely time making it. So as I said earlier, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any comments about this or any ideas for future experiments, please let me know, as always, in the comments down below. I always read every comment and I always try and reply to them as well. Thank you very much. Take good care of yourselves and I'll see you soon.